and welcome. My name is Paulo Castro and I am a researcher at the Center for the Philosophy of Sciences, located at the beautiful University of Lisbon. My main interest in AI relates to what I call the limitations of algorithmic reason. Here I will mention two. Firstly, I think that the famous Turing test to identify the existence of human intelligence in machines is in fact undecidable. This is because any person performing the identification must also prove himself not to be a machine. The proof will require another person who also must prove his humanity to yet another person, an endless process. So, if no one comes about with a better test than Turing's, how can we hope to build a general theory saying how and when will a robot become like us? The second limitation I have in mind for computer reasoning concerns what I have called cultural steering. You have probably heard about it as fake news or digital propaganda. Here's the thing. When you make a good Google search in a day, the system will throw back at you a kind of average of the things everyone approves. This is because Google and all the other stuff on the internet mechanically ranks everything according to a common sense razor. Well, think about it. Where does that put creativity and critical thinking, especially in the inner settings of the eager young minds?
My name is Klaus Gartner and I work here in the Center for Philosophy of Sciences of the University of Lisbon, mainly in philosophy of mind and cognitive science. My research entails thinking about the nature of the mind, often in the context of science and technology. This includes ideas about the mind as a computer and AI. Here at the center, I find that we have a very unique environment. First of all, we are situated in the Faculty of Science, which I think is a peculiar context for any philosopher, but definitely for me. Secondly, the center hosts researchers from very different branches of philosophy of science and technology, such as metaphysics of science, philosophy of physics, philosophy of biology, and many more. For my work, this is a rare composition of researchers helps me to see things from very different perspectives and sometimes leads to solutions that I would have otherwise not be aware of. Recently, I have been working in this intersection between mind and technology, more specific on the problem of mind uploading. I really appreciate themes like this. Not long ago, only science fiction novels or movies imagined such scenarios, and now they are seriously discussed in science as a possible form of digital immortality. I find this quite intriguing.
Hello, I'm Vinícius de Aguiar. I'm finishing my PhD studies in philosophy of science and technology as a member of the CFCUL and with a grant by FCT. In my research, I'm developing a pragmatic approach to digital technologies based on Charles Sanders Peirce's philosophy, with emphasis on the distinction between mathematical schematism and sensorial diagrammatics, and based on examples coming from musical practices. Some strategic questions of my research are: if music cannot be reduced to mathematics, what then mediates the experience of making and listening to music? And how does the example of music helps us clarify the impacts of algorithmic mediations in other social practices? I think that Peirce's philosophy can be helpful here, since he analyzed how our aesthetic, ethical, and epistemological habits are pragmatically formed and developed, and how they mediate our relation with the world. This helps us understand what other medias, such as feelings, inclinations, analogies, gestures, guide our reasoning in a broad sense, even if they cannot be converted into an algorithm.